Monster Hunter should not exist, and I don't mean that it's not a fun game. I really enjoy Monster Hunter Wilds when I can play Monster Hunter Wilds despite all the crashing. It is a fun game, but I don't think the game series should exist at all, and here's what I mean. Because I can't play the game right now due to all the crashing, I decided to investigate the whole claims that Monster Hunter is too easy. All the people on the forums are saying it's too easy, this is nothing how Monster Hunter should be, it's supposed to be hard, this is too easy. So I said, okay, I can't play Monster Hunter right now because of all the crashing. What happens if I play the original Monster Hunter? And y'all, when I tell you this is the worst game I have ever played, I am not exaggerating. I had more fun filming Lord of the Rings Gollum than I did playing this game. Now first, a positive, it looks amazing. This is the E3 demo you see here, the E3 trailer they originally showed off when this didn't exist. This was before Monster Hunter was a thing. This was people's first taste of Monster Hunter. And people who got hyped for it, I could see why. This looks amazing for a PS2 game. And I could see how someone could be fooled into thinking this was going to be a great experience, right? Like, you had character customization. This wasn't always a thing that existed back in the day. So being able to choose not only your gender, but like your face type, your hairstyle type, your hair color, your voice, it had a lot of customization for the time. And I actually mean a lot. Look at me cycle through everything here. There is a whole lot of options to really make your hunter your own, and that has continued onto the modern day series, as you see by all the creative things that people have made with their characters in Monster Hunter Wilds and Worlds. But once you actually get into the game, you'll very quickly realize that you've been lied to. You've been bait and switched. This is not Monster Hunter. This is Chore Hunter. If you caught any of my lives when I was playing Monster Hunter Wilds before the crashes got bad, you probably heard me complain about how much story there was, how much forced like walking and talking there was, and I said, I just want to hunt some monsters, yo, it's Monster Hunter, let me hunt some monsters. I had no idea how bad it could actually be. Look at these first quests you have to do. Find raw meat, cook the raw meat, combine items, fishing. Now I know this is the tutorial, like this is the start of the game, and it's teaching you how to be a monster hunter because Monster Hunter never existed, so there were no guides, no one had ever experienced this before, but this takes like an hour before you can actually hunt monsters. And your first monster hunt is to go take down some really small Velociprey, and then after that, go pick mushrooms. Go cook for the festival. Hey, how about you go get us some eggs? And anyone who's played the egg quest, this will haunt your nightmares. Anyone who actually played this legitimately back in the day is an OG gamer. This is someone who has trauma because this quest, holy cow, this quest. Here's the premise. You slowly have to run all the way to Section 5. That means you have to run through Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4 to get to Section 5 to pick up the egg. The egg is guarded by a Rathalos who will one-shot you if you happen to get seen. If you manage to pick up the egg, you have to slowly waddle back to base with the egg. If you fall from too great a height, if you get hit, if you accidentally press the wrong button, you will drop the egg and the egg will be destroyed, and you'll have to run all the way back to Section 5 to pick up another egg and try again. And something will go wrong. One of my chief complaints with this game, the combat is horrendous for a game that is focused around the combat. In order to attack, you hilt the joystick. Forward does a basic attack, side does like a side slash, and then back does like a heavy attack, and that feels terrible. And because joysticks are sensitive, especially on older controllers, I cannot tell you how many times I accidentally touched the joystick while I was running this egg back, and I dropped it because you automatically drop the egg and pull out your weapon when you hit the joystick. This may be the single worst decision ever made in gaming, to have the joystick be the combat. It's unimaginably bad. I cannot tell you. You have to physically pick up a controller and feel how bad it feels to try and fight using the joystick. It is beyond words terrible. And to make matters even worse, this is PlayStation 2 era, so tank controls are in full effect and there is a wonky, horrible camera. So not only are you fighting the worst fighting scheme ever known to man, On top of that, you're fighting a terrible camera, clunky controls, just everything about it feels awful. And most of this is mandatory. You have to do all the lower rank quests to get the higher rank quests to actually play the game. And then on top of that, you have to prep for each hunt. That means you have to go out into the world, find the herbs, find the other things to combine with the herbs to make potions, fish for the fish to cook, make the meat to eat, because your stamina bar goes down like no other. Like modern survival games where you starve to death after 10 minutes if you don't eat, that exists here too. Your stamina bar is constantly being depleted, which means you have to constantly eat, which means you have to constantly hunt for meat. And look at this, they put a bug right there as a trap. They knew someone was going to walk out there like, okay, I'm going to be very careful, and that bug is going to hit you and you're going to drop your egg. That is just cruel game design. And as you can see, I jumped from too high a height, so start over. And don't get me wrong, there are some great things in this game. The idea of like hunting the monster to cut off body parts to be able to forge your own gear that's better, that is such a cool concept that of course is carried over to modern days today, and people use it in all sorts of things like RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, other games use this sort of idea, so it was a great idea. It's just hidden behind a mountain of bad ideas. And I wanted to show you some of the high-level monster hunts. I just couldn't bring myself to get to the high-level monster hunts. I did see a Rathalos or a Rathion who, again, one-shot me, but it wasn't much of a fight. I'd like to get to that point to show it off, but that would require dedication, hours and hours and hours of unfun gameplay just to record a 5-minute fight. And on top of that, most people in the community generally agree that you need to use the online feature to be able to take down these larger monsters, which no longer exists, so there is content no one can play. The game is incomplete because it was made with online in mind, and of course the servers are shut down since forever ago. So what's my point in bringing all this up? Was the original Monster Hunter harder? Without a doubt. However, I don't think that difficulty came from actual difficulty in gameplay. It came from artificial difficulty in being boring, and having terrible controls, and having a terrible camera, and terrible tedium, and oh, I want to go hunt, well, let me go find some herbs somewhere in zone 12 and zone 8, and then go find a spider web I need at the top of zone 6 to be able to get to the point where I can even have a chance to hunt one monster. Oh, and if you fail, well, I guess you're going to be doing all that again to prepare for the hunt again. Here's the quest to hunt some raw meat, which is the first quest. It's very easy. All you have to do is walk up to these big guys you see there, whack them a few times, and harvest the meat. It is not a difficult quest, but it is a tedious quest. There's no challenge here. Those monsters can't hurt you. There's basically no chance of failing because they give you 50 minutes for this for some reason. So it begs the question of why does this even exist? I understand it's a tutorial to teach you how to do this, but it just feels so tedious. So be careful what you wish for, because we could have some of this stuff back in Monster Hunter Wilds, but the question is, do we want it? Quality of life improvements are just that. They're quality of life. Being able to quickly restock and go on a hunt and jump right into a monster hunt and fight the monster that you want to fight is a luxury that many monster hunters take for granted because they never experienced the horror that is Monster Hunter 1. You have your fancy palicos that cook your meals for you. We didn't have that back in the day. If you wanted a well-done steak, you had to do it the old-fashioned way. You had to suffer through this. And if you messed up or failed at it, not only did the ingredient get wasted, but you had to suffer through it again. So is Monster Hunter Wilds easier than the original Monster Hunter? Without a doubt. But is it better? Without a doubt. And I read this, I don't know that this is true, but this is something someone on Reddit said, that the devs were so concerned that there was a call for more Monster Hunter because the first one and the second one flopped so hard because it just was not a good game. I don't think anyone expected the game to get a sequel because it was so bad. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy we got a sequel. Again, I love Monster Hunter Worlds and Monster Hunter Wilds, flaws and all, but I could see why, after playing this game, if they had just said, you know what, that wasn't good, let's not invest in this any further. That would have been a reasonable and rational thing, and that's why I say that Monster Hunter should not exist. I don't think this game should have gotten a second chance. I'm very glad that it did, but I'm very understanding if someone had said, let's not do that ever again. I will gladly take all the quality of life upgrades we've gotten. I will gladly take the easier gameplay, and I will gladly take the ability to just go in and hunt a monster as compared to what we had to do here. So now the question is, did you play the original Monster Hunter, and do you think there's anything worth salvaging out of the original that is not in Wilds now? And as always, have a blessed day.